Have you ever stopped to consider that maybe failure isn't the end of the road, but the secret signal that the universe is, finally, taking you seriously? What if I told you that the more you mess up, the closer you are to getting it right? Yes, it sounds crazy, but there is a law, silent, hidden, that activates precisely when everything begins to fall apart. The problem is, no one talks about it. No one ever taught you to see the sacred within the fall. They taught you to fear failure, when in truth, it's one of the most powerful portals to your true frequency. Most people give up halfway through the path because they don't understand what's happening behind the vibrational scenes. But those who understand this law stop resisting pain and begin to walk with it until realignment happens. And in this video, I'm going to show you what almost no one knows, that every failure is an energetic recalibration disguised as frustration. And if you learn to recognize the signs, you'll access levels of alignment that once felt impossible. If you've ever gone through losses, rejections, blockages, or sudden collapses, this content will reveal to you that none of it was in vain, and that you can, starting now, use what broke you as the force to rebuild yourself even stronger. So take a deep breath, get ready to listen with your heart, and if you want to continue this journey of awakening and realignment, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and let's walk this sacred path of failure together. Lesson 1. The Law of Recalibration, the hidden pattern behind every fall. You know when life seems to push you off track, without warning, without logic, without permission? When the plans fall apart, the cycles end, and all you feel is the weight of having failed. It's precisely in that moment that something sacred begins to move. There is an invisible force that doesn't respond to merit or mistakes, but to alignment. And when that force detects misalignment, it recalibrates your path, even if it scares you. Think of a spiritual GPS. You might miss the turn, go the wrong way, but it doesn't abandon you. It takes a breath, recalculates the route, and finds a new path to your real destination. Failure is not a full stop. It's a hidden arrow, pointing silently toward a different path, a path that's more truthful, more aligned with who you came here to be. There was a time when everything seemed right. The proposal, the direction, the people, but something collapsed. At the time it felt unfair. Today I kneel in gratitude for that redirection. It was in that apparent failure that I found my voice. What I lost on the outside and forced me to dig within, and it was there, in that dark cave, I lit the first light. Sometimes the universe destroys the sandcastle. So you remember you were born to build a mountain, and there's no manual for that. There's falling, there's silence, there's reconstruction. It's hard to accept that life knows more than the mind, but the soul recognizes it. When the ground gives way, the spirit awakens, because deep down, it was already waiting for the collapse. It already knew that falling was part of rising. The law of energetic recalibration doesn't work through linear logic. It responds to frequency, and when you cling to what has already expired, it pulls you back to center like a magnet. And it's subtle. It doesn't come with subtitles. It comes with forced pauses, closed doors, broken bonds. But if you look through a different lens, you'll see that the universe isn't punishing you. It's redirecting you. This law doesn't care what you think you deserve. It answers to what you're actually vibrating. And sometimes, what you vibrate isn't what you say you want. It's fear dressed up as desire. It's control disguised as faith. When that disconnection happens, the universe doesn't cancel your journey. It simply changes the road. Because the destination was always evolution, not perfection. Every failure carries a seed, but it only sprouts when you stop blaming yourself, when you can see the intelligence behind the breakdown and realize that nothing real is ever lost. It only transforms. So next time something goes wrong, you don't rush to fix it. Breathe, feel, and ask in silence, what is being recalibrated here? Because it could be that in the midst of what feels like a setback, that you are actually being prepared, not to go back but to move forward on a path that finally makes sense. And it's exactly in that space between the fall and the understanding that a new energy starts to move, still invisible, but already rewriting the field. And when it activates, Lesson 2, when you fail, energy moves. There is a precise moment when something breaks and something awakens. You feel the ground collapsing beneath you, But deep inside, a seed begins to vibrate. It's the moment when energy finally starts to move. Failure is not stagnation, it's rupture. It's the cracking of the old field that could no longer hold the next version of you. When everything falls, the invisible reorganizes. Think of a star. It collapses, implodes, turns to dust. But from that collapse, a supernova is born. A new energy center, a new light. When something goes wrong, the field doesn't abandon you. It opens. Like a vortex, it absorbs the pain and redirects the power. You didn't lose, you released trapped energy. Energy that was suffocating inside a story that no longer fit you, and now it's available for creation. The pain of loss is only the echo of what's saying goodbye, but it's also the doorway to what's being born. You just need to resist the urge to shut everything down again, because now it's time to expand. Every failure is a rupture in time, a pause where the old collapses and the new hasn't arrived yet. It's a vibrational limbo that forces you to hear what the noise was hiding. Some people think failure means stopping, but what was stagnant was what came before. Failure shakes the field, reactivates life. It's the breath of a soul that had been suffocating, begging to move again. When you lose something important, your heart bleeds, it's true, but there in the silence that follows, a new space opens, and that space is fertile ground for recreation. Remember something you once lost and thought it was the end? And today you look back and feel thankful. That was energy in motion, breaking old patterns to free up quantum space. Failure breaks the autopilot. It throws you inward, forces you to reevaluate, re-understand, relearn, and in that process, a new version begins to be stitched in the invisible. The universe loves movement. It doesn't vibrate in perfection, it vibrates in flow, and every time you fail, your frequency shifts. Sometimes, it's the only way to wake you from numbness. It's as if life was saying, you weren't born to just survive in silence, you came here to dance with existence. And failure is just a step out of rhythm that teaches a new melody. You're not being punished, you're being pulled deeper, into more truth, into more living energy. And when that energy moves, it doesn't go back. It doesn't rebuild the past. It leads you with certainty onto the next portal. And in that portal, not everything will be clear right away, but something in you already knows what felt like a fall was just the field teaching you to fly at a new frequency. Lesson 3. The ego collapse, why failure feels like death. The worst part of failure is not what you lose. It's what breaks inside of you, or better said, what you thought was you, but never truly was. The ego builds castles out of image, out of validation, performance, comparison, and when failure arrives, it pulls the rugs, knocks down the walls, turns off the spotlights. It leaves the ideal self naked in front of the real mirror. That's why it hurts so much, because we're not crying over the situation, we're crying over the end of the illusion. It's the pain of watching the mask slip and fearing not knowing who's underneath it. It feels like something dies, and in a way something does. The persona you upheld for so long dies, the version you built to be accepted, but that pulled you away from who you really are. Sadhguru once said, you can become wounded or wise. And that's not a metaphor, it's a vibrational choice. You may bleed, but you can bleed with awareness. Failure is the crack in the seed's shell. From the outside, it looks like destruction. From the inside, it's liberation, because only through that crack can the sprout emerge. It's the death of the shell for the life of the essence. The ego calls it humiliation, but the spirit recognizes expansion. The former shrinks and the latter opens. The former demands explanation. The latter goes silent and observes. How many times have you tried to keep up an image of strength when deep down you were falling apart, and when you finally collapsed, you felt a strange sense of relief? That's the hidden truth inside pain. Some people spend their whole lives protecting an idea of themselves, but that idea is heavy. It's a vibrational burden, and failure comes like a sacred sledgehammer to free what was already imprisoned. The ego's collapse is cruel because it doesn't give notice. It strikes your pride, your expectations, your need to be in control. But it's exactly in that collapse that humility is born. And with it, wisdom emerges, because only those who have truly fallen know what it's like to walk with their feet on the ground. You begin to see that you don't have to prove anything, that you weren't born to please imaginary audiences, that your truth doesn't need to be beautiful. It just needs to be yours. And that alone is a revolution. Failure purifies. It sweeps away excess, vanity, performance, and leaves the essential, that which holds you even without applause, that which remains even when everything disappears. And when that cleansing is complete, you're no longer the same, but finally you are, you without the stage, you without the act. And from that raw place, a new way of walking emerges, lighter, more truthful, more grounded. This is where the next test begins, because now the universe wants to know. Lesson 4, the cosmic classroom, how the universe tests readiness. Have you ever felt like you were about to live something incredible, but suddenly everything froze, as if the universe had thrown a bucket of cold water on you, right at the moment when everything seemed to fall into place? That's not bad luck. That's rehearsal. There is an invisible classroom that only reveals itself when you're about to level up. The universe, contrary to what people say, doesn't hand out blessings easily. It tests vibrational readiness. Picture an actor about to step onto the main stage. Before the real performance, he rehearses, stumbles, repeats, falls. The mistakes in rehearsal aren't failures. They're energetic training. You don't receive what you want. You receive what you're ready to hold, and the test is never theoretical. It shows up as chaos, delays, rejections, misalignments, and trials. Life wants to know if you're ready, not to have, but to be. To be the frequency you're asking for, to be the consciousness that sustains it, to be the presence that doesn't collapse under pressure. Have you noticed certain patterns keep repeating? The same frustrations, the same triggers, the same dilemmas. That's the final exam. It returns until you respond differently, until you emit a new vibration. Remember that time when everything seemed to be going well, but an old wound resurfaced? That was the universe saying, let's see if you've learned to love this part too. It's a test, but also an invitation. The quantum field doesn't operate on luck, it works on resonance. And every true breakthrough is preceded by a hidden challenge to measure the stability of your new frequency. Remember that job that almost happened, but slipped away, or that relationship that looked like a promise but became a lesson. That spiritual rehearsal, the universe shows, then conceals, to see if the desire is real or just disguised emptiness. Nothing is denied, only postponed until you become the right channel. If there's still fear, desperation, or control, the field responds with silence, not as punishment, but as protection. It's as if life whispered, you're closer but not yet steady. So it provokes, it applies pressure, it watches. But there's hidden beauty in this, because every test is also an opportunity to become unshakable, to prove to yourself that what you want, you can hold. And when you finally pass where there are no fireworks, there is silence, peace, and a subtle yes in the field around you. That yes isn't spoken in words. It's felt in synchronicity, in the flow that suddenly opens up, in the deep sense that the universe now trusts you. And in that moment, you realize it was never rejection. It was preparation. It was the universe making sure that when you arrived, you wouldn't lose yourself. Lesson 5. The frequency mismatch, and when you want more than you're ready to hold. Not every no you receive is about what you asked for. Sometimes it's about who is asking. It's the vibration behind the voice. It's the signal the universe hears, even when you pretend you're not sending it. There's a gap between wanting and being ready to sustain. And that gap is called vibrational incoherence. It's like trying to tune into an FM station with a broken AM radio. You ask for abundance, but you're still vibrating with fear of scarcity. You ask for love, but you still doubt you're worthy of being loved. And the universe, as sensitive as it is, picks that up before you do. Because the field doesn't respond to words. It responds to the frequency behind the words. And when that frequency is misaligned, the request is sent, but doesn't arrive. Not out of denial, but protection. Imagine a cup trying to receive a full liter of water. No matter how much it wants it, it can only hold what it's built to contain. The rest spills, overflows, or is lost. The same thing happens with you. The universe wants to give you more, but only what you can hold. And sometimes what we call failure is just that, a vibrational alert saying, "You don't yet have the inner structure for this." It may sound harsh, but it's pure love. You weren't rejected. You were spared from drowning in something you don't yet know how to swim in. And that, my friend, is mercy in disguise. That's why every time something doesn't happen, pause and ask yourself, am I tuned to the frequency of what I asked for? Or am I just desiring from a place of lack? That question changes everything. Our powerful practice is to observe what in you still reacts with fear, which part resists success, lightness, or the new. Maybe you say, I want to change, but still feel safer being who you've always been. Because the new requires openness, and opening hurts. It hurts to let go of the old self. It hurts to face the void between one cycle and the next. But only in that void, alignment can happen. You can help this process. How? Through small aligned actions. Want more abundance? Practice gratitude before receiving. Want more love? Cultivate presence and deep listening. Want more peace? Organize the chaos around you. Everything you desire already exists at a specific frequency. And the secret is not to run toward it, but to become it. To vibrate as if it were already real. Start small. Swap "this never happens to me" for "it's on its way." Replace anxiety with calm intention. Trade doubt for presence. And watch the field begin to open. The universe doesn't punish impatience, but it also doesn't rush for it. It waits for you to become the right container. And when that happens, what once felt far away arrives effortlessly. You'll realize you don't need to chase anything. You just need to tune in. Because what's truly yours, it doesn't come through desperate effort. It comes through the magnetism of alignment. Lesson 6, the mirror of resistance, your old self fighting back. It's curious how, right when we're about to change and something inside us starts to sabotage, a voice shows up saying, "This won't work," or "You're not that person yet." That voice isn't the enemy. It's the echo of your old self and screaming not to be forgotten. It's the part of you that was built to survive, and now it fears disappearing. Every time you try to expand, your old self reacts. It kicks, manipulates, makes excuses, creates problems where there are none. Why? Because it's dying. Think of a creature caged for years. When the door opens, it doesn't run, it hesitates, because what's familiar, even if painful, feels safer than what's unknown. It's the same with old identities. They prefer the pain they know over the freedom they don't yet understand. So when everything starts to fall apart, maybe it's just your old self, resisting the fall. The sentence that defines this moment is simple, yet powerful. When everything begins to fall, it's your old self coming undone. And that is a blessing. Have you noticed how sometimes you sabotage your own growth? You start something incredible and soon abandon it. An opportunity comes and you hesitate. That's active resistance. It's the mirror showing you what still needs to be released. But there's beauty in this too, because only what's dying resists, and if it's dying, it means you're changing. You just need to let go. With respect, with compassion. The secret isn't to fight resistance. It's to embrace it and give thanks. Say, "Thank you for protecting me until now, but now I can go on without you." And then move forward. Some people try to destroy the old self, but that only brings more pain. The wiser path is integration, to see it clearly and allow the old to dissolve with dignity. Resistance often wears costumes: laziness, distraction, confusion. But if you observe it closely, you'll see it's only fear. Fear of the new self being born. At this point in the process, it's common to want to go back, to repeat familiar patterns, to seek comfort in the old places. But this is the test, to remain present. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stay conscious, to know that if you feel uncomfortable, it's because you're expanding. And discomfort is a sign of growth. So when chaos comes, when the urge to quit visits you, look into your inner mirror and say, "I see you, but I choose to continue." And in that simple gesture, the field begins to shift. Because on the other side of resistance, there is no failure. There is a version of you that already knows how to live without armor, and that version is waiting for you. Lesson 7, The growth gap, so what you learn between attempts. There is a sacred space between what you tried and what you haven't achieved yet. That space, often silent, is where the greatest transformations happen. Not in success, but in the space between attempts. It's in that interval where you fine-tune your aim. Like the archer who misses, adjusts, breathes, and tries again. Each failure, a small correction. Each attempt, an invisible lesson. But urgency blinds you from seeing it. The mind screams, you failed again. But the soul whispers, you learned what you needed. And that whisper is spiritual gold. You're not starting over from zero. You're starting from a higher place with more experience, more clarity, more vibrational sensitivity. You are no longer who you were before. You have to remember, repeating isn't retreating, it's persisting with more wisdom. And that's a sign of readiness, of vibrational perseverance. Steve Harvey often says, you only have to be right once. Before that, everything is a draft, everything is adjustment, everything is energetic refinement. No one shows up fully ready. We get ready by trying, by falling flat on our face, but not breaking our spirit. That's where the difference lies. What separates those who make it from those who give up is not talent, it's what they do between failures. It's what they choose to learn in the in-between. Some people stop at the first stumble, others use it as momentum, like a push from the universe in saying, you haven't seen all you're capable of yet. And that changes everything. This growth gap is quiet. It doesn't give out medals, it tests your faith with no witnesses, but it builds a foundation no one can take from you. Have you noticed that certain lessons only make sense later? They ripen in silence, like fruits that need the right time, and if you force them, the flavor is ruined. Spiritual maturity is the same. So if you're between attempts, as breathe, observe what you're learning, feel what's being refined, and trust you're growing in the invisible. Failure doesn't prove inability, it proves persistence. It shows you didn't stop at no, that you really want it, and the field responds to that clean insistence. Honor this space between one cycle and the next. Don't rush to fill it, it's fertile, it's revealing, it's shaping you. Because every time you try, something in you aligns a little more. And with every attempt, you become less the one who fails, and more the one who can hold what's coming. Lesson 8, the compassion principle, reprogramming the inner dialogue. The way you talk to yourself changes everything. Not just your self-esteem, but how the field responds to your vibration. Inner words are energetic commands. After a failure, the first reaction is almost always cruel. I'm such an idiot. I messed it all up. I'm not good enough. But the brain doesn't know how to tell repetition from reality. And the more you say those things, the more it believes, the more it shuts down to learning. A TED study showed this clearly. When you harshly criticize yourself after a mistake, the brain goes into defense mode. It doesn't learn, it just tries to survive your own aggression. That's why self-compassion is revolutionary. It's not about making excuses, it's about making space to understand. It's saying, okay, I messed up, but what can I learn from this? It's seeing through the eyes of a gardener, not a judge. Imagine a gardener yelling at a plant, "Why haven't you grown yet? You're useless." A plant doesn't bloom from being yelled at, it blooms from care. You're the same. You don't thrive under toxic pressure, but under presence, patience, and gentleness, and those virtues begin with how you treat yourself in failure. Celebrating micro-wins is a great start. Even if everything fell apart, look at what was different this time. Maybe you tried harder, maybe you said no where you used to say yes. Those small shifts in pattern are huge vibrational leaps. They're signs that your frequency is changing, and they deserve recognition, not criticism. Self-compassion also reprograms the field, because when you hold yourself with love, the universe senses she's ready to love herself at every stage, and that activates new cycles of manifestation. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to a dear friend, with a tone that blends truth with tenderness. You can speak the truth without hurting yourself inside. Be honest with yourself, but not violent. Say, "That didn't go how I hoped, but I'm proud I tried." That sentence heals old layers. When you treat yourself with love, the body changes, the mind opens, and the spirit aligns because every part of you feels safe to grow. This is the principle of vibrational compassion. You become your own healing field, and in that space, failures stop being walls and become doors. So next time you fail, and don't rush to judge yourself. Breathe, listen to your inner voice, and if it's too harsh, change the tone. Because in the end, the way you speak to yourself becomes the way the world begins to treat you. And that changes everything, especially what comes next. Lesson 9. The alignment moment. When the hidden law reveals itself, there's a moment when everything makes sense, not because things went right, but because you understand why they went wrong. It's the silent instant of revelation. It doesn't come with fireworks or shouting. It comes with peace, the kind that settles into your chest and without warning, without permission, without noise. And you simply know. You know that nothing was in vain. You know every fall had a purpose. You know the universe didn't punish you, it trained you. And now you see it all from a higher place. It's like looking at a mosaic up close. Everything looks chaotic. But when you take a step back, you see the full image, and it's beautiful. This moment cannot be forced. It arrives when the field senses that you have matured enough to understand, not with the mind, but with the spirit. Sometimes it comes after years. Other times in the middle of a shower, during a casual conversation, or in an ordinary sunset. But when it comes, it changes everything. You look back and see that the breakup set you free, that the job loss realigned you, that the failure was the beginning of your rewrite. I remember a moment like that. I thought I had lost everything. But months later, an opportunity came out of nowhere. And only then I realized, this was the reason all along. It wasn't coincidence, it was synchronicity. The hidden law was at work, weaving paths in the invisible, while I was learning how to trust. Alignment doesn't happen when everything goes right. It happens when you align internally with who you've always been. And then, the outer world starts reflecting that, like a mirror cleared after fog. You stop chasing and begin walking alongside life, alongside truth, alongside your most authentic frequency. That's when the hidden law reveals itself. It was always there, but you had to become able to see it, not with your eyes, but with your vibration. Everything that once felt like punishment was preparation. Everything that felt like delay was alignment. Everything that hurt was purification. And in that moment, you no longer feel anger toward the past. You feel gratitude because it didn't break you, it shaped you. And when you understand that, you no longer see yourself as someone who failed, but as someone who evolved. Because in the end, it was never about winning. It was about aligning. And now that you know it, that every failure carried a function, tell me honestly, which of these truths stirred something deep inside you? What part of your journey have you been calling a mistake, but now realize was just a necessary redirection from the universe? Which mask has fallen? Which resistance has dissolved? Which old version of you is finally ready to be released? Maybe you've realized that the pain wasn't punishment, it was a portal, and what you used to call a delay was simply alignment happening outside your control. But now that awareness has arrived, what will you do with it? Will you keep treating yourself like someone who failed? Or will you start honoring yourself as someone who evolved? I want you to share in the comments, what was the biggest lesson this video brought you? What insight became a turning point within? Your sharing could be the mirror that another soul needs to walk through their own fall. If this content touched any part of your being, if it brought clarity, comfort, or that healing kind of silence, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to keep learning with us, and share this with someone who needs to understand. They never failed, they simply recalibrated.